When Rene Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am," he changed the old view of God without realizing it. In the Bible, God tells Moses, "I am who I am." Descartes shifted this idea to focus on humans, saying, "I am the one who thinks." Since thinking is like talking to oneself, Descartes' idea allows people to say something similar to what God said in the Gospel of John, "I am the one through whom everything is expressed." A principle is like a foundation for communication. It's the reason why words exist. The essence of words comes from this principle, which is about being. Intelligence is a principle that can express thoughts. The intellectual light is the word itself. Revelation is also the word. Being is the foundation, the word is how we express it, and achieving full development and perfection of being is the goal. Speaking is a way of creating. Saying "I think, therefore I exist" assumes the conclusion of a principle, and recent arguments from the French priest and philosopher Hugues Félicité, Robert de Lamennais, show that this way of thinking is not perfect. Instead, saying "I am, therefore something exists" seems to be a simpler and more basic idea for understanding philosophy. "I am, therefore being exists" represents God's first revelation to humanity, and it is a key idea in hidden philosophy. The essence of this philosophy is simply about being, and it is certain and clear. Mercurius Trismegistus started his famous work, the Emerald Tablet, with the statement, "True, without error, certain, and most true." This means that truth is confirmed through experience and science, and certainty is free from lies through philosophy. Absolute truth is reached through comparisons in religion or the infinite. These are the main aspects of true science, which only magic can provide to those who study it. But first, who are you, the person holding this book and starting to read? On a temple dedicated to the God of light, there was an inscription that said, "Know thyself." I suggest this to anyone wanting to learn more about science. Magic, which ancient people called the Holy Kingdom or Kingdom of God, is meant for kings and priests. So, are you a priest or a king? Magic is not for ordinary people, and its true royalty is different from worldly princes. The kings of science are the priests of truth, and their knowledge is hidden from the masses, along with their sacrifices and prayers. The kings of science are those who know the truth, and this truth has set them free, as promised by Jesus Christ. A person who is controlled by their emotions or by the common beliefs of the world won't be able to become an initiate, and they can't do so until they change themselves. They won't become an adept, which means someone who has succeeded through their own will and actions. If you are too attached to your own ideas and fear losing them, if you doubt new truths and are not willing to question everything, rather than accept random ideas, then you should stop reading this book. It will confuse you and cause you trouble, and it would be even worse if you understood it better. If you care more about anything else in this world than reason, truth, and justice, if you are unsure or hesitant in your choices, if logic scares you, if the truth makes you uncomfortable, and if you get upset when your mistakes are pointed out, then put this book away and pretend it doesn't exist for you. Just don't call it dangerous. The secrets inside will only be understood by a few, and those who understand won't share them. It's like showing light to night creatures. It only blinds them and makes things seem darker. I will explain everything clearly, and I believe that only true initiates, or those who deserve to be initiates, will read and understand this. There are true and false sciences, divine magic and misleading magic. We will reveal the truth and expose the false. We will separate the magician from the sorcerer and the adept from the fraud. The magician knows how to use a force, while the sorcerer misuses what they don't understand. If I can use the word devil in a book about science, know that the devil serves the magician, while the sorcerer serves the devil. The magician is the true master of nature, while the sorcerer disrespects it. The sorcerer is to the magician what a superstitious person is to someone who is genuinely religious. Now let's define magic clearly. Magic is the traditional science of nature's secrets that comes from the mages. By using this science, the adept gains a sort of limited power and can act in ways that are beyond what normal people can do. Many famous adepts like Hermes Trismegistus, Osiris, Orpheus, and Apollonius of Tyana were worshipped or called gods after their deaths. However, some, like Emperor Julian, Apuleius, Merlin, and Cornelius Agrippa, who was called the arch-sorcerer, became known as questionable figures or servants of darkness due to changing opinions and the whims of success. To achieve the sacred knowledge and power of the mages, 4 things are needed: a mind sharpened by study, unstoppable courage, a strong will, and the ability to keep secrets. The 4 key actions of a mage are to know, to dare, to will, and to be silent. These actions can be combined and explained in different ways. In the tarot deck, the first card shows an adept wearing a large hat that could cover his entire head if he lowered it. He raises one hand to the sky, commanding it with a wand, while the other hand rests on his chest. In front of him are important symbols and tools of knowledge, and he keeps others hidden in a bag. His body and arms form the letter Aleph, which the Hebrews took from the Egyptians. The mage is what the Hebrew Kabbalists called the microprosopus, or lesser face, meaning the creator of a small world. The first magical knowledge, which is also the foundation of all science, is self-knowledge. This knowledge is essential for the great work, which is about creating oneself. The ultimate reason is the only unchanging principle, which means it never dies, because change is what we call death. Intelligence that connects deeply with this principle is also unchanging and therefore immortal. To stay connected to this reason, one must be free from the forces that cause the ups and downs of life and death. Learning to endure suffering, abstain from temptations, and accept death are the first secrets that help us rise above pain and fear. A person who seeks and finds a noble death believes in immortality, and all of humanity shares this belief, honoring them with altars or statues as symbols of everlasting life. A person becomes the leader over animals by taming or controlling them. Otherwise, they risk becoming a victim or a slave to them. In this context, animals symbolize our passions and natural instincts. Life is like a battle where freedom fights against the pull of laziness, using active effort. Physical laws are like a millstone, and if you don't know how to be the miller, you'll just be the grain that gets crushed. You are meant to be the master of the air, water, earth, and fire. To rule over these 4 symbolic animals, you must conquer them and put them under control. If you want to become wise and understand the mysteries of nature, you need to inherit the qualities of the Sphinx. This means having a human head for communication, eagle wings to reach great heights, a bull's body to explore deep places, and lion claws to make space for yourself all around. If you want to be an initiate, are you as wise as Faust? Are you as calm as Job? Probably not, but you can be if you choose. Have you learned to control your swirling thoughts? Are you decisive instead of unpredictable? Do you only seek pleasure when you truly want it and only want it when it's right? Most likely not, but it could be different if you decide to change. The Sphinx has a human head and the breasts of a woman. Can you resist the temptations of women? Likely not, and you might even laugh about your weaknesses while boasting about your desires. It's okay to acknowledge these feelings, but remember, only someone who masters their own desires can truly enjoy love, as they have overcome the need for pleasure. If you can take action and also choose to hold back, you will be twice as capable. Women can control you through your desires, but if you master those desires, you can control them. The worst thing to call a man is a coward. But what is a coward? A coward is someone who ignores their moral dignity and blindly follows their natural instincts. When faced with danger, it's normal to feel afraid and want to escape. But this is seen as shameful because honor means putting your duty above your fears and desires. Honor represents the belief in immortality and the respect for the ways to achieve it. The ultimate victory over death is to conquer the desire for life, not out of despair, but from a deep hope rooted in faith in beauty and honesty shared by the whole world. Learning to overcome yourself is truly learning to live, and the strict practices of Stoicism are not just empty gestures of freedom. Giving in to the forces of nature means living an ordinary life and becoming a slave to outside influences. On the other hand, resisting and overcoming nature allows you to create a lasting personal life and gain freedom from the ups and downs of life and death. A person who is willing to die rather than betray truth and justice is truly alive because their spirit is immortal. The aim of ancient initiations was to develop such individuals. Pythagoras taught his students through silence and various forms of self-control. In Egypt, initiates learned about the four elements, and in India, the fakirs and Brahmins practiced intense self-discipline to achieve freedom and divine independence. All these strict practices come from the initiation rituals of ancient mysteries, but they stopped because potential initiates could no longer find teachers. Over time, those who guided others became just as ignorant as the average person, and the blind grew tired of following each other. No one wanted to go through trials that only led to doubt and despair. The path to enlightenment was lost. To take action, you need to know what you want to do, or at least trust someone who does. But why would you risk your life on an adventure with someone who doesn't even know their destination? You shouldn't rush into the study of advanced sciences, but once you start, you must succeed or fail. Doubting can drive you mad. Stopping means you'll fall. Retreating can lead you to a deep pit. If you've started reading this book and understand it, if you want to finish it, it can make you either a leader or a madman. You can interpret this book however you want, but you can't disregard it or forget it. If you are pure, it will be a guiding light for you. If you are strong, it will be your tool. If you are holy, it will be your faith. If you are wise, it will enhance your wisdom. But if you are wicked, this book will feel like a fiery torment, stabbing at your heart like a dagger. It will haunt your memory as a deep regret, fill your mind with nightmares, and lead you to madness and despair. You might want to mock it, but all you will feel is anger, because this book will be like the steel file in the fable that wore down the serpent's teeth when it tried to bite it. Now, let's begin the series of initiations. I mentioned that revelation is like a verb. The verb, or the word, represents existence and is a sign of life. Every form is a cover for a verb, because the main idea behind the verb is the reason for the forms. Each shape represents a character, and all characters connect back to a verb. This is why ancient sages, with Hermes Trismegistus as their voice, express their main teaching like this. What is above is like what is below, and what is below is like what is above. In simpler terms, the form relates to the idea, just as a shadow reflects the size of a body based on light. The scabbard matches the length of the sword. Denial is equal to the opposite affirmation. Creation equals destruction in the process that keeps life going. There's no point in infinite space that isn't the center of a circle, which expands and contracts forever. Each individual can always improve since morality is similar to physical order. We can't imagine a point that couldn't grow, expand, and send out rays in a philosophically infinite circle. What we can say about the soul as a whole applies to each part of the soul. Intelligence and a person's will are tools with limitless potential. However, intelligence and will are supported by a lesser-known power that is key to magic: imagination, which Kabbalists refer to as the diaphany, or translucent. Imagination acts like the eye of the soul. It's where forms take shape and are kept. Through imagination, we can see reflections of the invisible world. It serves as a mirror for visions and is essential for a magical life. Imagination allows us to heal illnesses, influence the seasons, prevent death, and even revive the dead because it sparks the will and gives it power over the universal force. Imagination shapes the form of a baby in its mother's womb and influences the fate of people. It can spread disease and control weapons in war. If you're in danger during a battle, do you believe you're invulnerable like Achilles or like Paracelsus? Remember, fear can attract danger, while courage can deflect it. Many amputees often feel sensations in limbs they no longer have. Paracelsus treated living blood after bloodletting by using medicines and could cure headaches from afar by working with cut hair. His understanding of the connection between imagination and the unity of all things was ahead of his time compared to many of our best magnetists. His cures were so remarkable that he earned the name Aureolus Paracelsus and even the title of divine. Imagination is the tool that helps bring the verb to life. When imagination combines with reason, it becomes genius. Both reason and genius contribute to the variety of its creations. There is a principle, a truth, a reason, and a universal philosophy. What is unified is seen as the principle, and what returns to that unity is considered the goal. Everything is interconnected, all is within all. Unity is the basis of numbers and the source of movement, and therefore of life. The entire human body can be understood as one organ, the brain. All religions share a core belief, which is the affirmation of existence and its equality with itself. In magic, there is only one doctrine. The visible world is a reflection of the invisible world. In other words, the perfect verb is found in what we can see, in direct relation to what we cannot perceive with our senses. The mage raises one hand to the sky and lowers the other to the earth, saying, "In the sky there is vastness. On the ground, there is vastness too." Vastness equals vastness. This applies to both the visible and the invisible. The first letter of the Holy Alphabet, Aleph, symbolizes a man raising one hand to the sky and lowering the other to the earth. We also see this depicted in the magician card of the tarot. It represents the active force behind everything and shows the creation in the heavens, which relates to the powerful verb here on earth. This letter alone is a pentacle, meaning a symbol of universal knowledge. The letter Aleph can stand in for the sacred symbols of the larger universe, macrocosm, and the smaller universe, microcosm. It represents the Masonic double triangle and the shining five-pointed star, since the verb is the triangle, and revelation is the star. When God gave humans reason, he also gave them the word, and revelation, though it appears in many forms, comes from one principle and is part of the universal verb, which represents absolute reason. This relates to the word Catholicism, which is often misunderstood and in modern religious terms means infallibility. The universal aspect of reason is absolute, and the absolute is infallible. If absolute reason led everyone to believe in the words of a child, then that child would be infallible for God and all humanity. Faith is simply reasonable trust in the unity of reason and the universality of the verb. To believe means accepting what we don't yet understand, but have faith that reason will help us understand or recognize it someday. Philosophers who claim, "I will not believe what I do not know," are misguided. If you truly knew, you wouldn't need to believe. However, we can't just believe anything without reason. Blind faith is superstition and foolishness. We should only believe in causes that reason leads us to accept after we see their effects, which are recognized by science. Science, it's a powerful word, the very columns of the temple. Intentions that are not acted upon are useless, and the words expressing them are meaningless. It is through action that we show we are alive, and it is through action that we demonstrate our will. Sacred texts say that people will be judged not by their thoughts or ideas, but by their actions. To exist, one must take action. Now, we will discuss the important and serious topic of actual magic works. This is not about theories or abstract ideas. We are talking about real actions. We will give the adept the wand of miracles and say, "Don't just listen to our words. Take action yourself." We will explore works of significant power and the ways to uncover the deepest secrets of nature and make them serve a clear and strong will. Most known magical rituals are either tricks or puzzles, and for the first time in many centuries, we will reveal the hidden truths of the magical world. By exposing these mysteries, we aim to make up for their past misuse. This belief drives our courage and has pushed us to face the challenges of this work, which may be one of the boldest endeavors the human spirit can imagine and achieve. Magical actions use a natural power but go beyond normal natural forces. They come from a science and practice that elevate human will beyond its usual limits. The supernatural is just nature taken to an extraordinary level. A miracle is an event that amazes people because it is unexpected. It is wondrous, and what causes wonder are the effects that surprise those who do not understand their causes or who attribute them to causes that do not match the results. Miracles are only for those who lack understanding, but since true scientific knowledge is rare among people, miracles can still happen and do happen for everyone. Let's say we believe in all miracles because we are convinced, even from our own experiences, that they are possible. Some miracles are hard to explain, but we still consider them explainable. From the simplest to the most complex, the results are connected, and their relationships are strict. However, to perform miracles, one must rise above the usual human experience. This means being lifted up by wisdom or driven by a kind of madness, transcending ordinary emotions through ecstasy or frenzy. These are the first and essential preparations for the practitioner. So, due to a natural or fateful law, a magician can only use their power in ways that go against their own material interests. An alchemist can create more gold the more they accept living simply and respect poverty, which protects the secrets of the great work. An adept who has a calm heart can control the love and hate of those they want to use in their work. The story of Genesis teaches that only those who can resist temptation and are strong enough to avoid wanting the fruits of knowledge can approach the tree of science. If you think of magic as a way to satisfy your desires, you should stop right there. That path leads to madness or death. This is what old traditions meant when they said that the devil eventually punishes sorcerers. A mage must be calm, sober, and chaste, free from self-interest, and immune to all forms of fear or bias. They should be free from physical flaws and resilient against contradictions and sorrow. The first and most important magical task is to achieve this rare state of superiority. While passionate excitement can sometimes lead to results similar to true mastery, it does not provide control over magical actions. Passion can forcefully release energy and create unexpected changes in the universal force, but it is hard to control once released. This can lead to a fate like Hippolytus, who was dragged away by his own horses, or Phalaris, who suffered from the torture device he invented for others. The human will, when acted upon, is like a cannonball that never backs down from obstacles. It either breaks through or gets lost when shot with force. However, if you work with patience and determination, it will never be lost. It's like the tide that always returns and gradually wears away even iron. People can change through habit, which can become a second nature, as the saying goes. Through consistent practice and training, the strength and agility of the body can develop to impressive levels. The same is true for the powers of the soul. If you want to have control over yourself and others, you need to learn how to will. How can someone learn to will? This is the first secret of magical initiation. The ancient guardians of this sacred knowledge made the entrances to their temples terrifying and filled with illusions to ensure that people truly understood this secret. They believed in a person's will only after it had proven itself, and they were right. Strength is shown through victories. Laziness and forgetfulness are the enemies of willpower. That's why religions have many practices and make their rituals challenging. The more effort we put into an idea, the more power we gain over it. Don't mothers often prefer the children who required the most care and effort? The strength of religions comes from the unwavering will of their followers. As long as there is a faithful believer in the Mass, there will be a priest to celebrate it. As long as a priest recites his prayers every day, there will be a pope. Even the smallest practices, which seem unrelated to the main goal, help develop and strengthen the will. For example, a farmer who wakes up at 2 or 3 in the morning to gather a herb before sunrise could perform many miracles while carrying that herb. That herb would symbolize his will and could become whatever he desires through that will. To achieve something, you must believe you can do it, and that belief must turn into action. When a child says, "I can't," his mother replies, "Try." True faith doesn't just try. It starts with the certainty of success and works calmly, because it has great power at its disposal and time ahead. So, if you come to the knowledge of the mages, what do you want from it? Dare to state your desire, whatever it is, and then start working on it right away. Keep acting in the same direction and towards the same goal. What you want will happen, and it has already begun with you. Sixtus V, while tending to his animals, said, "I want to be Pope. If you are a beggar and want to create gold, start working and don't stop. I promise you, in the name of this knowledge, all the treasures of Flamel and Ramon Lully. What should you do first? Believe that you can, then take action. How should I act? Wake up early every morning at the same time. Wash yourself in all seasons before dawn at a fountain. Never wear dirty clothes, and wash them yourself if necessary. Endure some self-imposed sacrifices to better handle those you can't avoid. Then silence any desires that do not relate to achieving the great work. What? Washing in a fountain every day will make me gold? You will work to create it. Is this a joke? No, it's a secret. How can I use a secret I don't understand? Believe and act. You will understand later. Someone once told me, "I want to be a passionate Catholic, but I'm an atheist. I would give anything to have faith." I replied, "Stop saying I would like and start saying I will. Act on your faith, and I promise you will believe. You say you follow Voltaire, but you find the Jesuits' understanding of faith the least appealing, yet also the most desirable and powerful. Try doing the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius, and keep doing them without losing hope, and you will become just as faithful as a Jesuit. The outcome is guaranteed. If you think this is a miracle, remember that you are already fooling yourself by following Voltaire. A lazy person will never become a magician. Magic requires constant effort and attention. To perform great works, you must be fully in control of yourself. You need to resist the pull of pleasure and the desire for sleep. You should be unaffected by both success and insults. Your life must be guided by a strong will and focused thought, with all of nature at your service as you connect your mind with the universal forces around you. All your abilities and senses need to be involved in the work. No part of you can stay inactive. You must express knowledge through symbols and summarize it with characters or pentacles. You should define your will with words and turn those words into actions. You need to bring your magical ideas to life through sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touch. In short, you must live out in your life what you want to achieve in the world. You need to become a magnet that attracts what you desire. Once you are fully magnetized, you will find that what you want will come to you without you even having to think about it. It's important for a mage to understand the secrets of magic, but they can gain this knowledge through intuition, even without formal learning. Hermits who spend their time contemplating nature often sense its harmony, and can be more knowledgeable with their common sense than doctors, whose understanding can be clouded by their education. Real practical magicians are often found in rural areas and are sometimes uneducated or simple shepherds. Some people have a natural ability to sense the hidden aspects of the world. They are sensitive and have a strong intuition. Certain illnesses or issues can change the nervous system, making someone a better diviner without needing to use their will. However, these cases are exceptions, and usually the ability to perform magic must be developed through hard work and persistence. There are substances that can induce a state of ecstasy and lead to a magnetic sleep, and others that can spark vivid and colorful imaginations. However, using these substances can be risky because they can cause confusion and intoxication. If they are used, it must be in very careful amounts and only in special situations. Anyone wanting to seriously begin magical work must first prepare their mind to avoid hallucinations and fear. They should purify themselves both inside and out for 40 days. The number 40 is sacred and symbolizes magic itself. In Arabic numerals, it represents a circle, symbolizing infinity, and the number 4, which combines the 3 with the unity. In Roman numerals, it reflects the fundamental teachings of Hermes and the nature of the Seal of Solomon. The mage's purification involves avoiding all animal pleasures, following a soft vegetarian diet, refraining from strong drinks, and regulating sleep hours. This preparation is represented in many traditions as a time of penance and trials that comes before sacred festivals celebrating new life. As mentioned before, it's important to maintain strict cleanliness, both inside and outside. Even those with little money can find water at a fountain. You should take care to clean your clothes or have them cleaned, and also keep your living space tidy. Any uncleanliness shows carelessness, and in magic, carelessness can be very dangerous. You should purify the air when you wake up and before you sleep by using incense made from bay tree sap, salt, camphor, white resin, and sulfur. While doing this, say 4 sacred words while facing the 4 directions. Never talk about the work you've done, as mystery is essential in all magical practices. To throw off the curious, let them think you're engaged in other activities, like chemical experiments for industrial purposes, or researching natural secrets. Just avoid saying the word magic. When starting your work, the magician should isolate themselves and limit contact with others to focus their energy and choose their connections. However, after being reclusive at first, they will later become popular and surrounded by others, having magnetized their energy and found their place in the flow of ideas and light. Living a hard and simple life is beneficial for learning through practice, which is why many great masters sought it out, even when they could have enjoyed wealth. At this time, the spirit of ignorance, or Satan, tries to tempt the future master of knowledge by saying, "If you are truly powerful, make these stones turn into bread." Wealthy people may try to undermine the master of knowledge by belittling, cheapening, or exploiting their work, making them feel they have to struggle for basic needs. The mage does not let this distract them and continues their work calmly. You should avoid looking at ugly things or people, eating at the homes of those you don't respect, and steer clear of excess. Live in a consistent and balanced way. Have great respect for yourself, and see yourself as a hidden ruler who chooses to remain unknown in order to regain their power. Be kind and dignified with everyone, but in social situations, don't let yourself get lost in a crowd and step away from groups where you can't take the lead. You can and should fulfill your responsibilities and practice the rituals of your religion. However, of all the religions, the one that performs the most miracles is based on wise reasoning and deep mysteries, and balances light with dark, is the most magical. This religion makes miracles known and embodies God and people through faith. It has always existed in various forms as the one true religion. Today, there are three major religions that seem to oppose each other: Russian Orthodoxy, Roman Catholicism, and a modern interpretation of Buddhism, but they will soon unite to form a universal church. It's important to understand that our magic is different from that of goetic sorcerers and necromancers. Our magic is both a science and a true religion that aims to improve and guide all beliefs rather than destroy them. It seeks to build a community of initiates who can lead the masses wisely. We live in a time when there is nothing left to destroy, but everything needs to be rebuilt since so much has been lost. Rebuild what? The past? We cannot change the past. Reconstruct what? A temple or a throne? Why bother, since the old ones have fallen? It's like saying, my house has fallen down because it is old. Why should I build another? But will the new house be the same as the old one? No, the old one was old, and the new one will be different. But in the end, isn't it still just a house? Yes, what else would you want it to be?